With Petr Yan recently getting another really big win against Deiveson Figueiredo, it still seems like the UFC is still interested in having Umar Nurmagomedov fight next for the title, but Merab Dvalishvili has called out Petr Yan and wants to fight him for the bantamweight title next. Will the UFC listen? Who knows? A lot of fans are actually calling Merab a coward for not wanting to fight Umar, but instead wanting to fight Petr Yan. We're going to talk about all of that, and I'm going to take a look at both of their records to see who actually deserves a title fight. I don't imagine that we would disagree on the deserving part, but is Merab a coward? Who knows? Let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. Guys, let's talk about Merab for a second. So, Merab Dvalishvili, I'll put it really simple for you guys, okay? I believe anybody who has taken on the vast majority of opponents, and not only the UFC, in what I believe to, and I believe this to be incredibly accurate, the toughest division in all of combat sports. Merab has stepped in with guys like Sean O'Malley. He's stepped in with guys like Petr Yan. He has taken on some of the toughest of tough opponents. So I do not believe it when people are saying, oh my god, he's ducking Umar Nurmagomedov. He's scared to fight Umar Nurmagomedov. What I do believe is that maybe because he knew how, and I don't want to say easy, but easy compared to the performances that Merab has had, Petr Yan's actually been a little bit easier than some other opponents that he's fought, which is super weird, but perhaps I'm open to that idea of him just wanting to fight somebody he knows he can beat as opposed to a brand new challenge in Umar Nurmagomedov, a fighter who also, and I don't know how much Merab would look into this, but the UFC obviously wants Umar Nurmagomedov to win. It's a contender that they're pushing. If they have a relatively close fight, they're going to give the decision to Umar Nurmagomedov. So I don't believe that there's really anything wrong with Merab wanting to fight Petr Yan. I believe that Petr Yan is more deserving of a title fight. Let me bring you over to Petr Yan's record right now, okay? So, of course, he had the big fight skid besides the Corey Sandhagen win. He took on Aljamain Sterling twice, Sean O'Malley, Merab Dvalishvili. If we actually take a look at these wins, okay? The Aljamain Sterling fight, he was well on his way to winning. This Aljamain Sterling fight, I'd have to watch it again to remember who I exactly gave it to, but this was an incredibly close fight. A lot of fans think this was a robbery. Sean O'Malley, this was absolutely a robbery, and then he arguably had his only loss in the UFC, or recently, against Merab Dvalishvili. Then he bounced back and not only took on some contenders, took on some, I want to say, fighters that were on the verge of having a title eliminator bout. Deiveson Figueiredo and Song Yadong are surging contenders, fantastic fighters, and again, the toughest division of all of combat sports. And he didn't necessarily, dominate these opponents, but he won pretty convincingly, in my opinion. He looked phenomenal in both of these fights. Song Yadong and Deiveson Figueiredo are fighters that would beat the vast majority of the bantamweight division, and Petr Yan got 2 solid wins over them. Comparing that to Umar Nurmagomedov, on the other hand, who has he beat, okay? And I like Umar. I think he is top 5 level. I really do, and I think that he would give Merab a pretty good fight. He fought Nate Maness, which is okay. Bekzat Almakhan, who has proven to seem like he belongs into the UFC, but we need to see more from him. But regardless, and I don't even remember how short notice that was, then he had the fight against Corey Sandhagen, and even then, if you want to really dive into it, it was Corey Sandhagen after his big, long layoff. Doesn't matter. That is his only really shining win. And it was a good fight. It was a high-level fight. It was enough for me to prove that, okay, Umar Nurmagomedov can hang with the top of the division. But those wins do not compare one little bit to what Petr Yan has done. Deiveson Figueiredo and Song Yadong are infinitely more deserving wins of getting a title fight. It's no question for me. And even if Merab wants to go down that road where it's like, oh, Petr Yan's more deserving of a title fight, he'd be accurate in saying that. I don't think there's anything wrong with Merab calling out Petr Yan. I think he's calling out the proper #1 contender. Now, it's super weird that Merab, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's ducking. I don't know if it's just he doesn't like Umar, but he was being weird about the idea of fighting Umar Nurmagomedov at the very beginning, since he literally won the belt. Regardless, Petr Yan came onto the scene. He has proven to infinitely deserve a title fight more than Umar Nurmagomedov. But what about some other contenders? Does Umar actually deserve the title shot over everybody else? You can see Umar Nurmagomedov is now sitting at the #2 spot. I actually think that he, in my opinion, he hasn't done enough to deserve a title fight yet. I would personally love to see him fight a Sean O'Malley. Maybe even if that's the next fight for Deiveson Figueiredo. I think he needs one more good win, even if you want to put Petr Yan versus Umar Nurmagomedov together, which I don't personally think you should do because Petr Yan has done enough to get the title fight, and what are we going to have Merab do? Sit out the entire year? I think the proper thing to do is to give Petr Yan the title shot against Merab Dvalishvili, have Sean O'Malley and Umar Nurmagomedov fight in order to get the perfect and most deserving, undisputed title shot ever. Then you can get into the other contenders, like maybe actually Corey Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo would be a really good fight. Deiveson Figueiredo versus Henry Cejudo. Like, there's a lot of really, really fun fights that you can make, but there are no shining contenders right now that are anywhere close to Petr Yan deserving a title fight. Sean O'Malley getting a rematch is honestly more deserving than Umar Nurmagomedov, but I think that's a proper thing to do. Have Umar wait, have him fight Sean, or just wait it out. Let Petr Yan get his second chance over at the belt. I don't think Merab's scared. I think that he is doing the right thing in calling out Petr Yan, and I think that Petr Yan absolutely deserves the title fight. I'd love to know what you guys think. Thank you for watching. Watch this video on screen if you want to keep watching the channel. YouTube thinks that you'll like it the best. Thanks for being here, guys. Take care.